Hello everyone and welcome back to another video provided by SVSU's online tutoring. My name is Joel and today we will be continuing on with Chapter 8, Section 8.4, and the topic for this video will be sketching a parabola, but in trinomial form. So right here we have an example of what a trinomial function looks like, underlined in red here, and that function is x squared minus 2x minus 3. And so if we wanted to graph this function, there are certain bits of information that we need to find. We need to find the y-intercept. We need to find the x-intercepts, because it's possible a function could have more than one. And we need to find the vertex. Okay, so and with these bits of information, it'll be possible for us to graph the function. So the first thing that we should probably find, well, we can start with any of them, but one of the easiest bits of information to find is the vertex. And if we remember that the definition for the vertex is equal to x, or x is equal to negative b divided by 2a. And so with this trinomial, we have a being equal to 1, and our b is equal to negative 2. Okay? So all we have to do then is just substitute those values in, and we'll have negative times negative 2 divided by 2 divided by 1. And so our vertex for our x value will be equal to 2 divided by 2, which is equal to 1. So then what we do here is that we take this value, x equals 1, and we substitute it into our function, and then this will give us the y value of our vertex. So if we write out f of 1 is equal to 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3, we'll have 1 minus 2 minus 3, which is, so let's see, negative 2 minus 3, that's negative 5, and then plus a 1, so we'll have negative 4. So then our vertex occurs at 1, negative 4, okay? So that's the vertex, and probably put that like that. And then we can try finding our y-intercept. And to find our y-intercept, that's when x is equal to 0. So we can go over here and we can put f of 0, and then we have 0 squared, put that in parentheses, 2 minus 2 times 0, and then minus 3. So this is 0, and this is 3. So our y-intercept is negative 3. Okay, and so we have let me write that in red. We have our y-intercept, which is 0, negative 3. Okay, and then we need to find our x-intercepts, right? So to do that, we have to take our function, and then we have to factor it. So if we have, I'll just write it right here. So I'm going to ignore the f of x part real quick, so that way we can just focus on factoring this. So we know that since it's just x squared, we should have 2 x's right here, right? And so now what we want to focus on are these last two terms. So we want to think of two numbers that when multiplied together give us negative 3, but when added give us negative 2. So the thing to keep in mind here is that 3 is a prime number, so its only factors are 3 and 1. And because it's negative, we know that one of the numbers should be negative. Otherwise, if you have two positive numbers, that'll give us a positive number, and if there were two negative numbers, we would also end up with a positive number. So now it's just a matter of saying, well, now when they're added together, how do we get negative 2? So since it's negative 2 here, if we were to try 3 and 1, right, then we would have, this is just like a guess and check type of thing. So you could, if you're wrong, you can just flip these two numbers around, because those are our only factors for 3. So we have x squared minus x, and then plus 3x minus 1. And then we simplify this and we get plus 2x minus, oops, should be minus 3 here. Minus 3. And so we can see that because we end up with a positive 2 here, it should in fact be flipped around. So we know that the 3 should be negative because that's the larger factor, and so that's what will dictate where the numbers go. So let me go back to my pen here. So when we factorize this, we should have x plus 1 times x minus 3. And then we can run through a check real quick. So it's x squared plus x, and then minus 3x minus 3. So yep, and we end up with the same thing that we started with. So we know that we're good there. And then we want to take these factors, right, and set them equal to 0, because that's where we have our x-intercepts. So we set each of these equal to 0. So we have x, I always write it without picking up my pen, x plus 1 is equal to 0, and we have x minus 3 equal to 0. And then all we have to do is just solve for x. So for this one we have x plus 1, so we just subtract the 1 and we get x is equal to negative 1. And for this one we add the negative 3 to both sides, and so we have x is equal to 3. So our two x-intercepts are negative 1 and 0 and 3, 0. So we want to take these 4 points and then graph each of them, and then we can draw our line for our parabola. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write it over here. So we have our y-axis, and down here we have our x-axis. And the first point that I'm going to draw will be the y-intercept. So we're at 0, and then we have to go down 3. Just going to draw a couple more dashes here. And then in red, I'll put our point. So right here is our y-intercept. And then we can draw our x-intercepts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And one of them is at negative 1, 0, which is right here. And then we have another one at 3, 0, which is right here. And then finally we want to draw our vertex. So that's at 1 and then down at negative 4. So looks something like that. And now since we have all 4 of our points graphed, we can draw the line. So the line will be, maybe I can make this a little thinner, so it'll be something like that, where the line passes through each of these 4 points. Okay, so that's how you go about graphing or sketching a parabola when you're just given the function in trinomial form. You want to remember that the 3 bits of information that you want to look for are the y-intercept, the x-intercepts, and the vertex, okay? And once you've done that, you'll end up with at least, or I guess at maximum, 4 points. And then from there, you can graph or plot each of those points, and then you can sketch your line. Alright, see you next time.